Oh, yes, everybody. This is the Flex Network joining you again for a Sunday morning. What is this? Week six Sunday morning start-sit show comprised of one at Seeley_Shane. What's going on, brother? Good morning. Did you get a fat cup of coffee ready to rock this?
I got my cup of coffee, baby. Good morning.
Good morning. Also up on the top right box here, one Mr. at Alan Seslowski, ALANSES, Low Sky. What's going on?
Hey, you guys have your coffee. Last night I tried my first White Claw, as you saw. I posted a picture, and I'm on board, baby. I'm on board. I tried the black cherry.
The black cherry, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you like it? Did you like it?
I loved it. Loved it.
That's, White Claw is definitely one of those things where a lot of people shit on it when they first.
I don't get why though. Why? It's not like Zima from back in the day or Mike's Hard Lemonade. It actually was quite refreshing.
It is quite refreshing, and so are we, Mr. at Alan Seslowski, hashtag season long says Jennifer. What's going on? Good morning, Jennifer. Hello. We are getting ready to rock Sirius XM, Byron Lambert, Alex Dunlap. They are on live right now. Star Sniper 35. Let's go, everybody. Yes. In case you guys didn't know, we host our Friday night Flex Finder podcast on the Flex Network. Find us at the Flex Network 1, and I unveiled my new banner. Hopefully you guys like my new banner.
It's a spitting image. It's
unreal.
So this morning, again, as we discuss our top start sits with all of you, Byron Lambert from RosterWatch at RosterWatch. Follow them and honestly, guys, Alex is making a huge deal about just getting to 500 reviews and comments there on the Apple Podcasts. Really easy. Scroll down, go to your available episodes at the very bottom, give them a 5-star review, give them a 1-star review. I mean, if you don't like it, trash on it. That's okay. Reviews are good.
No.
Helps people. It helps people.
5 stars only, Matt. 5 stars only.
Well, of course, it's a 5-star only podcast because it is our boys. But we want any and everybody commenting. Let's go. Now. Alan Seslowski, where are you in the world today? Is that the Brooklyn Bridge behind you?
Yes, you got it. You're the first one to get it. Whoa!
How am I the first one to get that? How in the world is that?
I'm with you. I thought that was a little Captain Obvious that it's the bridge. I'm sitting in my living room. I'm watching the game. That's why you see me look up once in a while. I got the game.
That's why I keep going left and right.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm watching the game. I'm doing the podcast. There's only so many hours in the morning here, and with a tea and crumpets game on this morning, I have to be here. So, but I'm quite comfortable. I'm on my couch. I got my laptop in front of me. I got my boys with me. We're drinking coffee. What could be better?
You got boys with you?
No, you're my boys.
Oh, we are the boys. The
man.
Network. I thought for sure you had about 5 guests on the other side just watching you do this podcast.
No, you're my guys. Are you kidding me here?
Of course it's us. So you're referencing a game on the television. Please give me a little bit about said game going on right now, Seslowski.
Yeah,
what's the score?
So it's 3-0 Panthers. They're in the red zone. They're on the 5-yard line. They're handing off right now to guess who just scored a touchdown.
Oh,
no. I think my feed's about 30 seconds in front of you, Al.
Okay, yeah, because I'm on Cut the Cord streams, Revolution, and usually that's a little bit a few minutes behind. So yeah, right now we're about to. So Shane, you're better equipped to.
We got a 4th and goal right now.
Right,
4th and goal, and they are I don't know.
So speaking of Christian McCaffrey, Matt,
yes.
You know what's interesting? I saw a stat on Twitter that said in 70% of high stakes leagues, so that's leagues that qualified as high stakes were $300 and over, and 70% of leagues this year took Barkley at number one. So that means, and the other 30% was obviously a mixture of McCaffrey, Elliott, even Kamara. But can you imagine what kind of tilt that those Barkley owners are on right now when they could have had McCaffrey?
Oh my gosh, the tilt is strong and real here at Sealy_Shane reporting breaking news.
The boy just scored a damn touchdown.
CMC.
It looks like it. It's going to be. It'll probably be reviewed, but it looks like you got it.
CMC, obviously.
And not the Flex Network. That's kind of what we do. We flex here, right? We had CMC as the 101. Pretty much all offseason.
We didn't
all
even.
Sure.
I wouldn't even say that we had Barkley at 102. I mean, we were one of the ones that were kind of pushing him down the list just because of the anemic offenses. Nobody wants running backs in anemic offenses that aren't going to move the ball down the field. I don't care who you are, Saquon Barkley or anybody else out there. If you don't have a competent quarterback, if you don't have a competent offense, then who cares?
Well,
if you're anybody,
talk about the Giants, though, just as like an aside, before these questions start rolling, man, the Giants look good right now. Like, yes, I know they ended up, basically hitting the spread on Thursday night, but they held up with the Patriots for that first half. And Daniel Jones, he's still a rookie and he's still a work in progress. He looks good, man. He looks like he's the real deal.
So and what's the problem there? What's the problem there in New York? What do you think the problem is in New York?
Well, I think right now, their defense is stepping up, I think, but really it's just right now they're battling with injuries, right? They're missing Sterling Shepard, they're missing Evan Ingram, they're obviously missing Saquon Barkley. But if they can actually get all those guys in the field at the same time, as we expected, there you go, Jennifer. As we expected, Golden
Jennifer,
good, right?
Big old flex symbol, Jennifer. Man, I would like to connect with Jennifer because I see about 5 people in her profile picture. Really hard for me to see which one is Jennifer. But what's up, Jennifer?
Jennifer's picture is like, where's Waldo? You got to try to find her in there.
You got to find her in there, but she's in there and she is flexing with the Christian McCaffrey touchdown. Christian McCaffrey with more total yards from scrimmage than the entire New York Jets team. What about the Jets, Sealy_Shane? Do you think that when the Sam Darnold kissing train gets back on the rails, do you think that team's going to turn it around?
Yeah, you have a hard time thinking that, right? Because they don't even look competent. Albeit they've had a third string quarterback though, right? It's almost not even a fair comparison. Sam Darnold, I think that he's good. I think that, if he was being drafted this season, he definitely would have been in consideration for one of the top quarterbacks being drafted. So, I think that they're going to be better now, but it's tough, man. I'm not an Adam Gase guy. I don't think very many people are right now. And it's just, I saw something on Twitter, just this week, just about how and why these old coaches just keep getting recycled in the damn league. It's it's not working, guys. We need to move on. And you see all these teams that are actually bringing in the new guys. Look at Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, he's actually a competent head coach. God, who would have thunk it, right?
Jennifer says that she is in the bottom with the gray T-shirt in her post. Go ahead and put that comment back up if anybody.
We're just creeping. This is.
Hey, Shane, yes. Let's go ahead and put the old style comments up there. Let's put the extra the banner style. Let's get a big one. Yeah, let's get the different banner style. I don't mind if you roll over my body with there it is. There it is. Okay, we're going to roll with that right now for just a minute. Anyway, this week 6 is a big week. It's a huge week.
Can I just add one thing to that Jets discussion? I think whatever you thought of the Jets preseason is kind of where you have to get back to now. I thought of them more as a 7-win team. I didn't think they were a total doormat in the preseason. So, yeah, sure. So now with Darnold back, I think that's where you have to think of them as a 7-win team. Now, because they started off, what are they, 0-4, 0-5, something like that?
Close, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll probably end up with 3 or 4 wins because they're starting from a place of 0-4. But I think that whatever you thought of them in the preseason, it's time to get back to thinking if you liked Robbie Anderson, you now should be on Robbie Anderson. You liked Lev Bell, and if you thought they were total disasters, then stay with the current line of thinking.
The thing about Robbie Anderson, though, is that it was a pretty common narrative that he's like probably the toughest wide receiver schedule in the league this year. And so far, it's really proven to be true. I mean, I've been hanging on to him in one of our leagues, and I don't think I've started him once. He's Al, as you always say, he's one of these guys that's too good to drop, but not good enough to start.
Worst kind of player to have on your roster.
I have to play him this week, which I am definitely not happy with. Star Sniper says he's got a great start-sit question for us. He's been struggling with it all week. Frank what is that? Avalesi. Can you? I always ask our commenters to give me the
my guy.
spell.
That's Avalese.
Avalese.
That's my guy. I know he's in one of my home dynasty leagues. That's my dude.
There you go. It's too bad Herndon got hurt. Darnold's favorite weapon last year. Yeah, there's a lot that are really too bad that's going on with the Jets because
we see it. We see it all the time though, where guys come back from not playing and then they get these soft tissue injuries. Like so, Herndon dealt with a hammy, right? You see that all the time where they don't practice at full game speed and then boom, they come back. It was before he was even with the team. He hurt that hammy. So hopefully it's not as bad as they were kind of saying it's going to be.
All right, here we go. We got a couple comments here. So Star Sniper says, and this is a big one. I feel like we're going to get a lot of questions today about Melvin Gordon. We heard from Byron on the trade cast that essentially right now Eckler is going to be overpriced because of the snap share difference last week. But we really feel like that's going to just continue to trend towards Melvin Gordon's way. Byron feels that he's just by far in a way going to run away with the number one job. Eckler's going to be an afterthought in that offense a little bit. So I feel like, and I've already got a couple questions from friends as well on Melvin Gordon. So we're going to start too with the 1 and 4. Go ahead, Seth.
I just got a question. First of all, is my voice better now?
No, it sounds the same.
Okay. Shane, also, I would recommend that you put on the other branding so we don't block out our friend Matt right there.
No, you can. It's fine. I'm fine right
do it.
It's only
when Byron comes on, I'm going to change it back. When Byron comes on, I'm going to change it back. For now, we don't need to see Matt's face. It's all good.
So yes, exactly. Half point PPR. Okay. Damian Williams, Chris Thompson, Mark Andrews, or Melvin Gordon start 2. Now, I would assume this might be a flex question here. So it's not like a running back and a flex. We're going to start 2 in the flex here. And Damian Williams, guys, what do we think about Damian Williams this week against Houston? A lot of opportunity. Do you think LaShawn McCoy eats into things? Says, go ahead here.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Damian Williams. I know some people like him. I think we're in a true 3-headed monster situation right now. One of them will emerge. And even if you count, between McCoy, Darrell Williams, and Damian Williams, and, not to mention Darwin Thompson, somebody's going to emerge, or this could be a week-to-week thing.
Seriously, Darwin Thompson. You're bringing up Darwin Thompson? Seriously?
I mean, I'll tell you why. I mean, look, all 2 of those running backs have been dinged up a little bit. Darrell Williams has gotten his shot. I mean, if these guys continue to get hurt, there's a chance that we could see a 2-week span where Darwin Thompson is relevant. Whoever the Chiefs running back is going to be fantasy relevant. It's just right now in week 6, it's a total crapshoot.
All right, so Star Sniper does say it's actually 1 RB, 1 flex.
Yeah.
So Chris Thompson this week going up against Miami, which is the number 1 opposing running back schedule, according to RosterWatch's matchup tool. Get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com with our friends over there at RosterWatch at RosterWatch. Also, they are on the Game Day All Business Edition of SiriusXM. Literally right now, started 15 minutes ago. Byron Lambert will be joining us here at the top of the hour. Chris Thompson with the number 1 matchup.
Fumble. Sorry, Panthers just fumbled on punt return. Sweet.
Oh,
all right, continue. It's going to be a game by game or a play by play.
Play by play right
Yeah.
here. Chris Thompson, Adrian Peterson says, we talked about it in our Flex Finder podcast. When the coaches reference something, that they're going to turn it around and try to get it right with Adrian Peterson.
Well,
so
sometimes there's a lot of coach speak, but what's been true this year is that when a coach comes out and blatantly says something when he's not ambiguous at all, it's, you have a good you should believe him. And Bill Callahan, the new interim coach for his first week in Washington, has come out and said, we need to establish the run. We need to get back to grinding with Adrian Peterson, and we're going to feed the guy. So I would say the under over on carries for Adrian Peterson is safely 16.5. So, and I would take the over. And this could be one of those games where he gets 18 carries, like 50 yards, but 2 touchdowns. It's a great matchup. I've had some bite back on that comment from our podcast, but in a week where running back, if you're desperate or you just need a flex play, especially in half PPR, Adrian Peterson is your guy. I even advocated spending a 3rd round rookie pick if you're a contender and need a running back this week in Dynasty. I think it's okay.
So are we starting Chris Tom?
No.
Out of these 4 here, 1 running back, 1 flex. Are we just going to go ahead and put Melvin Gordon in weekly now? I feel like this is exactly the start of what happened.
OJ Howard finally got the ball. He had a nice play. He was almost in for the touchdown, but not quite. But he actually plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay.
So Melvin Gordon again. So Hunter Henry, I've got Hunter Henry, and he looks like he's good to go. I've dropped all my backup tight ends that I've had to pick up while I was laying in wait on Hunter Henry. Is Melvin Gordon the same way, where you go ahead and drop that Chris Thompson you've been holding on to while Melvin Gordon's been out, and you just slot Melvin Gordon in right here, Shane?
Well, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's Melvin Gordon for me. Like, to me, I think we're kind of overthinking this, right? I agree with Al 100%. Oh, Ronald Jones just got in for the touchdown.
Rojo in for the touchdown.
It's going to be a Rojo week. Okay, sorry. So for me, I think it's going to be an AP game. I absolutely agree with Al. I think that you're going to try to pound the ball. What they were doing before wasn't working. So I think you're going to go back to their guy. They're going to go after or use Adrian Peterson. They're going to use TMC. Case Keenum's back. He's starting. So, man, I mean, to me, Melvin Gordon, you have to play it. They came out and said that they're going to use him more. He's going to continue to get more and more touches. So it's got to be Melvin Gordon. And then I just want a piece of that Kansas City Houston offense. I mean, yes, it's a 3-headed monster, but to me, Damian Williams is a number 2, really a 1B in that offense. And, we keep going back to the fact that Patrick Mahomes is a little bit banged up with that ankle. So maybe they are going to try to establish the run a little bit more. I think that's one of the reasons they lost last week to the Colts. The fact that Kansas City, you knew every single play they were going to throw the ball. So they're going to try to establish the run. I would go Damian Williams. I would go Melvin Gordon.
Says, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I think that given these options, Shane, you don't like Mark Andrews at all against Cincinnati. He's the main target. A lot of their receiver options are down for the count. Or are you just going with, in the format? Go ahead.
Look, guys, like we talk about this all the time. When I have a choice between a starting running back or in pretty much any other position, unless it's an absolute stud, say wide receiver, I'm always going to favor the running back just because they're going to get the touches, right? There's more of an opportunity for them to, 1, score a touchdown, but 2, just get, just rack up points. And Melvin Gordon can catch the ball. Damian Williams can catch the ball. So they're going to get those PPR points.
Well, here's a better way to frame it. Who has with Eckler there, doesn't Eckler really siphon away a lot of the passing game value? I mean, I ultimately do agree with what you said. Damian Williams and Melvin Gordon in half PPR, because Chris Thompson in this format is a little less valuable, and Mark Andrews is still a tight end. Even though he's a good tight end, it's still a tight end. Let's not belabor the point, beat the dead horse. I think Damian Williams and Melvin Gordon is the call.
Boom. Adam Roy asks us
My
a question
boy.
here. Mahomes versus Jackson this week. Matchup tool RosterWatch says that obviously Baltimore going up against Cincinnati here. Just a strong matchup for opposing quarterbacks. But Kansas City's right behind them, a couple spots down. Now, the over-under in the games are a quite a bit different. Baltimore-Cincinnati over-under at 47 versus 54.5 for the Houston team. Is Mahomes going to be gimpy at all from last week, or do you think it was just a per game? He kind of tweaked it, and he's going to be fine. I mean, I don't see him popping up on the injury report as far as someone that we should be concerned with. So Lamar Jackson with that running ability, or do we have Mahomes with just obviously?
Do not overthink this. Yeah, don't overthink this one, man.
Mahomes, it's not even fair. It's not even close after a stinker last week.
Adam's in my home league, so I have to kind of abstain from really answering here. But to me, it's like I think Mahomes is going to be the top scoring quarterback. He's gone 2 weeks now where he's kind of had slow weeks. I think they're going to throw up the ball. I mean, I think it's going to be a Mark Ingram game against you guys this week.
Do you guys recall back to the preseason? I made that very large bet with Mahomes touchdowns, 35.5. So after the first couple weeks, so the average, we needed an average of 2.5 touchdowns per game in order to hit the 36 touchdown threshold. For those of you who are hearing for the first time, we made a pretty large bet on over 35.5 passing touchdowns from Mahomes. We were off to a blazing start. Our needed touchdowns per game ended up being like 1.75 after the 2 very bad weeks, including the 0 TDs this past week. We're back up to 2.36 touchdowns needed per week. So I'm with you. I'm all in Mahomes. 3 touchdown day. Let's get it. Put Jackson back on the bench.
Jennifer again. So let's. It was a close last week, won by 0.3 points. What
by an inch or a mile, it doesn't matter, Jennifer. You won.
The most unkindest swindle of all.
Yes, that is the biggest swindle. She is ready for week 6. 0.5 PPR, started Mike Evans, Juju, MCM, Derrick Henry, and Vance McDonald, because Evans is, what is that? Evans is who to flex?
Oh, because he got the 0. He got the goose egg.
Oh, right. Who to flex? Fitz, Robert Woods, Catch TMC, or Emmanuel Sanders. Also, she picked up Matt Breida or Chase Edmonds. So go back to the first one here.
Where'd you go, Matt? Where'd you go? I can't even see you.
I'm right here, baby.
You look like Mr. Wilson from freaking Home Improvement right now.
I love it.
Oh, yes. That is great.
You were child of the 90s out. So true. I love it.
We're gonna keep that just like this. I like Fitzgerald this week with Christian Kirk not slated to play this week. Arizona with just a juicy matchup with the number 1 matchup. Kirk's not going to play today. So the trend is that
David Johnson is. They say he's trending towards playing.
Yes. So, yeah, exactly. David Johnson is going to be in. Chase Edmonds, obviously a great match. If they get up 3 touchdowns. Oh, she meant to write Evan Ingram, not Evans. Ingram out. Okay, I got it. I got what you're saying because Ingram is out. Okay. So I think it's between Fitzgerald and Catch TMC. Catch TMC going up against the putrid Dolphins defense because Xavier Howard is trending out, which is their star cornerback. He's out. He's out. So Catch TMC with Case Keenum coming back. That's a tough one too. So I think it's between Fitz and Catch TMC. I'm going to see if I can look up the DFS flex values based on Vegas player props tool made by RosterWatch.
I'm just looking at the RosterWatch rankings.
Go ahead.
Looking at the RosterWatch rankings, and they have Larry Fitzgerald slated as the top out of that bunch. I would tend to agree with that. I mean, I didn't realize that Kirk was trending to be out when I last looked. Actually, I'm on one of my teams. He was trending to be in. But with that, I mean, Fitzgerald are going to feed him against Atlanta, man. That's going to be a high-scoring affair. I would take the over. The over-under in that one is 51.5. I would take the over. I think it's going to be a lot of throwing. It is the number 1 wide receiver matchup on the RosterWatch matchup tool. So I would roll with Fitz.
Yeah,
and
so
it's going to be Kyler day, man. It's going to be a good day for Kyler.
Well, here's the DFS flex values. We are literally 14.1 points for Larry Fitzgerald based off Vegas player props and 14.05 for Terry McLaurin. Go ahead, Says. I know you're a Catch TMC truther here.
Oh yeah, no, totally. He said something before. You guys like Kyler today. I have a start sit in my own league. Is Kyler or Lamar Jackson? What do you think, guys?
Let's talk about that after. Let's answer this one first.
Yeah. After. That's fine, but just keep that one in the back of your brain. Yeah, I mean, Catch TMC is an auto start today. I don't see why. I mean, I see all those great options Jennifer has on the bottom, but you could go Robert Woods. I would have no problem with that. The only thing that's been missing from his game this year is the touchdowns, but the yardages and the catches are pretty much the same as last year. It's pretty much identical.
Can we talk about Robert Woods for a second? Sure. RosterWatch puts out another tool with the touchdown dependency tool. And I don't actually own Robert Woods in any leagues, so I haven't really been paying attention to his game logs every single week. But this is a guy who has 0 touchdowns on the season. He's gonna regress back to the mean, and he's going to get some touchdowns. So I mean, Robert Woods, a lot of people are low on him. I was going back and forth with a guy on Twitter just this week about Robert Woods. And I like Robert Woods every week. To me, he's almost the guy you need to plug into your lineup. But the thing is you've got some pretty damn good options here. For me, I'm gonna roll Fitz over TMC, but I mean, frankly, it's gonna be a coin toss.
Let's go Fitz. Let's flex and go Fitz. Let's go Kyler Murray at the quarterback helm. Let's go with the idea that the Bengals can put up a good fight this week, and maybe they almost beat the Seahawks. Okay. Now I know that there's a different offense that played the Seahawks, so you got a couple guys out now. The Bengals can play a little bit. They've got good guys off the edge. I think there might be a bigger shootout there. Just like at Sealy_Shane says, we're betting the over in that game. So let's flat out. We're just gonna go Fitz. Bengals are playing Baltimore. Sorry, my bad on that one. Yo Mama So Fat 1. Go to that. LOL. Yeah, that was because Isaac Y had commented, beware of the stat correction, Jennifer.
Amen.
With the zero.
It's in the books now, brother. It's in the books now. You're a troll, by the way, Isaac. You're a troll.
We love Isaac. We definitely love Isaac. We love all of you guys on a game day edition of a Start Sit Week 6 Flex Network. We just want to congrats to Jennifer for winning by 0.3 points and pulling the ultimate
Jennifer,
window.
Good news. Mike Evans just got a reception.
Mike Evans with the reception. Chris Godwin's at 5 points right now. Christian McCaffrey, 9.3 points. The game's starting off pretty well for both sides. There are 10 minutes left in the second quarter. The game's in London, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
I got a question for you guys.
Yep.
So Al and I were talking about this before we started today, and we talked about how Jameis Winston, he's always got one guy that's like his go-to. Is Mike Evans, the fact that Chris Godwin, I think we would all agree, is now Jameis Winston's go-to guy. He's always going to be his first read. Is Mike Evans a guy that you need to start every single week? Or is it at the point where you're going to start looking at matchups? He's still a guy you start every single week, Al?
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you why. Because Mike Evans, at the end of the season, he's going to have 80 catches. He's probably going to have 1,050 to 1,100 yards. And I would still take the over on 6.5. I would say 7.5 touchdowns. You just don't know when it's going to come.
He's got four now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
that's 3 in one damn game.
So you know what? I would even say 85, 1,210 is a nice ending stat line.
Yeah.
And what I think is you have with these receivers, you put them in there, and you're going to know they're volatile. They're not like running backs. Game to game, they're volatile. Year to year, they're pretty consistent. And even with the emergence of Chris Godwin, the tree is still very narrow. Woo. He throws to Mike Evans, and he throws to Chris Godwin. So
at the other side of the team,
says,
Yeah, and he throws to the other. That's pretty good. That's like that. That's funny. But what I'm saying is that you're going to get your numbers in the year, and the worst thing that can happen is since Mike Evans is a little more volatile than week to week than he has been in the past, you really just need to put him in there and leave him in there. That would be my strategy. You drafted him in the second round, put him in there. His skill set hasn't diminished. It's just the game plans have been a little, like I said, they're featuring Chris Godwin a little bit more. To answer the short answer, leave Evans in there. You're going to get your big weeks. You're going to have your bad weeks. Who knew it was going to be 0? You thought the floor was like 9 or 11 points.
Well, listen. So in a league that we all play in together. So Jennifer, thank you for the comment. You almost considered starting Woods. So I've got Tyreek Hill on my bench right now, and I started DJ Moore and Mike Evans because it's in the early game. But I'm gonna have to make a decision. If Tyreek Hill's in, do I start Michael Gallup or Tyreek Hill? I almost considered putting Evans on the bench this week out of all those guys because Michael Gallup is being super uber efficient right now. So it's tough, man. I don't know.
I have that same decision to make, Gallup or Hill in the Banana Hammock Boys League.
Oh yeah, and if he starts, what are you going to do? Because we got the same choice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Tyreek Hill.
You got to go Hill, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but I would not be surprised if it goes sideways.
Oh god.
Let's go sideways again right here with Kyle Jackson's comment. Boyd or catch TMC in 0.5 PPR. Now, guys, before Byron Lambert from @RosterWatch joins us, please, team name and record. Okay? Team name and record. And also, I would like to see in some of these comments, if you're slated to lose by a lot, win by a little, whatever it is, because, to me, I love both these guys, but I would go catch TMC if I'm slated to lose by 15 points already. If I'm projected to lose by more than 5 points and I just have to try to catch the maniacal 126 and 2 touchdown game, I'm going to bet Terry McLaurin. But if I'm close and if I'm going to just eke it out, eke a 0.3 win like Jennifer did last week, then I'm going to go Tyler Boyd here. I don't like the matchup against Baltimore, but who else are they going to pass the ball to? Come on.
Yeah, no, I agree exactly what you said. I just have we have a special start sit that just came in via the Slack chat app. So when you're done with this one, I just want you to make sure you come to this one.
We'll go to Donald Laster's comment next, but let's go catch TMC here. Let's flex out and go catch TMC.
I totally agree with that.
Hopefully catch TMC catches on, because that was @Alan Says Lowski with that nickname, Catch TMC. What's going on?
Look, hey, and by the way, that is a huge flexing going over Boyd. I like that.
Oh, for sure. I think what maybe would push it a little bit more in McLaurin's favor is just the fact that it is only 0.5. I think Tyler Boyd will probably end up with more receptions by the end of the day, but I think McLaurin's got a better chance of getting in the end zone.
Boom.
Hey, I'm going to give you the one.
Donald Laster, baby. Jarvis Landry or catch TMC, and Hawk or Swaim for, and here we go. Catch TMC all day long right now. Now, again, Hawkinson is the same thing as Hunter Henry. Smoke them if you got them. If they're playing this week, you got to get rid of all your other guys that you've had in your lineup and just put them in. Put them in.
I mean, what's this Hunter Henry thing? I mean, we talked about him being the Scatman Crothers. I mean, he shows up. The guy.
I'm sorry, but Christian McCaffrey's too freaking good, man. Another touchdown for McCaffrey. He's too good.
Oh my gosh, McCaffrey, CMC putting the ultimate swindle on. Let me throw my glasses up here because I can barely.
I'm watching it now. Here comes the play. Shane's ruining every play for me.
I'm sorry.
Now. We're going catch TMC and Hawkinson right here, Donald. Thank you for the comment. We're just going to get
one thing about Hawk. One thing about the Hawk is it looks like he's trying to play, but see if there's any more news that kind of comes out this morning before. I know that he plays Monday night. That's the issue, right? So if he ends up not playing, then you could be in a bind, but you got to go Hawkinson here, right?
Well, here's the thing, too. And in a lot of my leagues, it's Hawkinson or Jimmy Graham. I've dropped Jimmy Graham to go Hawkinson. And they're playing each other this week. You might be able to just go, figure out a way to get Jimmy Graham.
Jesus.
Okay.
Let's
go catch TMC and Hawkinson. I'm having
a religious experience watching Christian McCaffrey just juke that guy.
Crazy.
B. Ollie here. Freaking Winston is such a loser. F hashtag at symbol and symbol exclamation mark. Yeah. Winston, he's up, he's down. Tampa Bay, what do they do with Winston this year, guys? I mean, do they try to ship him off? They ship him off? You think they're shipping him off, huh?
You know what? I got a question for you. I thought Bruce Arians is supposed to be like the quarterback whisperer. Jameis Winston was the number 1 overall pick. Winston sucks. Is Bruce Arians just a little bit past his prime now? I mean, sure, he made Carson Palmer good, but Carson Palmer was number 1 overall pick too. He hasn't done much with many of these QBs. The reason he was hired was to make Jameis Winston reach his full potential. I mean, this looks a lot like the old Winston. Now, let me ask you this. In the preseason, we talked about this. And you guys, laughed me off the podcast. Who do you think has more of a future as an NFL starting quarterback, Mariota or Winston?
Winston, I think, because look at the game against Los Angeles, man. Hey, when a team needs to put up 50 points to beat the Los Angeles Rams in that high-powered offense, Jameis Winston can do it. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that I don't think can score 50 points if they needed to. Mariota definitely is not on my high list that can do that.
I think, though, to your point, Matt, it's like Jameis Winston, maybe not his style per se, but his career arc reminds me a lot of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's a guy that, he's got absolutely just gem games in him where he'll put up 3 or 4 touchdowns. He looks magnificent. You think, wow, this guy is the second coming. And then he'll put up a dud where, he's got a couple interceptions. He just looks like an absolute bum. It looks like the game is too much for him, and he's just totally out of it. It's actually kind of funny because I was actually at the game where he was eating his fingers. That was a game that I went. That was like one of the first games I went to against the Saints. And pretty much the wheels have fallen off after that game, right? It's like he's gone crazy, and now he's just very up and down. He's tough. He's frustrating. I actually, in just a 10-man league, 10-person league, I drafted Jameis because I was pretty high on him. I dropped him after week 1 for Dak Prescott because even though Jameis can probably put up more points week to week, I want that floor. I want that week to week consistency, and I'm willing to concede, these blow up games for that Jameis puts up for like a little bit more consistency with Dak.
All right, guys, let's get to a couple more of these comments. Donald Laster says his team name is miles away from a championship. He's a Browns fan. I am number 1 in his league, or he's number 1 in his league at 4-1. Catch TMC or Jarvis or we already did that one. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna go TMC and
do you want me
Hawkinson.
Do you want me to give you the one that came in over Slack? Because this is
yeah. Please, let's get that. Then let's get these rolling here. We got a couple of them here for us.
Basically, this guy says, "Hey, I join the stream every week, but I can't. I'm in church right now, and I'm texting you from church."
I love that.
Okay, all right. I mean, this guy is thinking about us, the Flex Network, when he should be thinking about the Lord.
The Lord Savior. He needs to say a couple Hail Marys to get out of this one.
Right. So he's praying, he wrote in quotes, that we can answer this question correctly.
Okay, let's do it.
So Joker Wins wants to know Breida Hardman or AJ Brown in a full PPR.
Ew.
Breida Hardman, AJ Brown, full PPR.
Look,
okay,
he said his life depends on it.
This one's
life depends on it? Oh, man. Okay, go ahead.
Say this one's because the fact that Tyreek Hill is looking like he's going to play, that's going to absolutely kill McCole Hardman. No
Sammy Watkins, though. No Sammy Watkins.
Byron Pringle is going to play the Sammy Watkins role, and Terry McLaurin was playing the Tyreek Hill role. So
Terry McLaurin?
Sorry?
Hardman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. McCole Hardman was playing the Tyreek Hill role. Excuse me. Thanks, Al. So to me, Matt Breida right now, I know that it's an absolute 2/3-headed monster, but that San Francisco running offense looks absolutely amazing. I know they're going to the Rams, but we saw that the Rams can get into these shootouts. San Francisco is clicking on all cylinders with that running game, and I'm starting him as a flex, Matt Breida. So I would recommend Matt Breida because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and second that, Matt Breida, purely on the RosterWatch matchup tool, because for me, when you're looking at 3 trash options, not trash, but just 3 options, they're really tough to decide from. I look at the over-unders on the matchup tool. What game is there going to be flat out more scoring And so to me, against the Los Angeles Rams, whether Matt Breida gets the ball very often or not, 50-point over-under, that's a big over-under versus you're going with A.J. Brown against Denver, which is the 27th worst matchup this week on the week for opposing wide receivers at a 41-point over-under. So, yeah, give me Matt Breida. Hail Mary, and give me Matt Breida.
Give me 10 Hail Marys and give me Matt Breida.
Okay, let's get it going here. Mike Scott, cannonball coming, 2-3, projected points 103 to 94. He's got Tyler Boyd, Eckler, D.D. Westbrook. We're gonna go Tyler Boyd there. Even though I love D.D. Westbrook, I love D.D. Westbrook.
But Boyd over Westbrook
this week. And I would say go Dede, but again, I like because projected he's up 10 or 9 points projected. I want to keep it as close to that as possible versus going with somebody who could throw a stinker out there. Tyler Boyd's going to get his. I mean, and that's the thing. Eckler, we just don't know how much he's going to get. D.D. Westbrook, we just don't know how much he's going to get. But Tyler Boyd is going to get anything he wants, essentially. 10 targets a game, 85% plus snap share. Can you bet that for any of these other guys, says?
No, I think you said it correctly there. I mean, your analysis. Wait, which guy was the last one you talked about? The last
Westbrook.
Yeah, D.D. Westbrook. Yeah, I mean, D.D. Westbrook has come on in the last couple of weeks, and I mean, are we ready to to just concede that DJ Shark is a matchup-proof wide receiver one until further notice?
Well, we'll find out this week.
But like, if you have to make that call now, if you have to make that bold call now, we flex over here. Are we ready to call him on the Flex Network a matchup-proof wide receiver one?
No, I'm not ready to get.
I am. I'm calling him that. I'm staying with him.
Every single week.
Yeah, I'm saying that he is a matchup-proof. Not saying he won't have down games. All wide receivers do, but I'm saying he's a matchup-proof wide receiver one. And in the preseason, when he was going as wide receiver 100, yours truly did say he was a top 36 receiver, and I'm actually going to say I got that wrong because he's a top 12 receiver. He is, he's got the size speed combo, the hands, the toe tapping, the trust of Gardner Minshew. I just don't see, unless defenses start shifting coverage to really force the ball away from him, in which case that is possible. And that's why what Matt said, I really like Dede suck up 10 targets in this game.
Well, and here's the thing about Baby Shark, baby. Mike Evans went for 0 points against Marshawn Lattimore. Okay, so if Baby Shark is going to be a matchup-proof wide receiver, like you say, you really got to eat your words this week and hopefully swallow it down well, because Baby Shark, he's going to go up against a real animal, and I think the league's best corner, and I'll put that out there easily. Marshawn Lattimore, very disrespected.
What?
I mean, well, coming out.
Okay,
I mean, he was not.
Didn't he win Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His rookie year. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So we're going to go right there with Tyler Boyd, but only because you're up. If you're down, I would say, let's try Westbrook Boyd. If you're down, but let's go Boyd.
Boyd.
I got a question for you. This is a DFS question, but you guys, you have your pulse on it pretty well lately. And I was just thinking about, because while we're doing this, I'm making a FanDuel single entry lineup. Are the Jets as the cheapest defense on the board? Dallas has both starting tackles out. Is that a sneaky play that they can get a few stacks?
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure it is, but are there guys that were and have been injured up on the defensive line? Are they ready to go at full strength? That's something that I would like to know before I start saying that. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, 100%.
I'm just trying to stack Houston and KC. And in order to do that properly, I need the super cheap defense. That's why I'm doing it.
I love it. They're like, what, 1,500 on DraftKings, I think, Al?
I'm on FanDuel. They're 3,100, which is the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. It's I for that price, I think is an absolute consideration for
so
sure.
let's circle back around on Kyle Jackson. Said the guy that gave us the Boyd or Catch TMC in a half-point PPR, Sherlock Mahomes team name with a 2-3 record, projected to win by 4 with Boyd. That's close. So we had said Catch TMC in that. Now we're definitely going to continue to flex and say that we're going to go ahead and stay Catch TMC, even though the rhetoric from me has just been, if it's tight, go with Boyd. But we also think that Catch TMC this week is going to be a great floor play as well. And we just like flexing a lot. So Yo Mama's So Fat got a rough one this week. Forced to start Ronald Jones and Evans, which is fine. You got your touchdown with Josh Gordon already giving me a stinker. Well, yes, here, Josh Gordon. I'm not high on Josh Gordon. Never have been high on Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon's been high all the time, but I've never been high on him.
Hey, listen, guys. Remember in the offseason when Gordon was reinstated and y'all gave me a whole lot of shit for saying I was really low on Josh Gordon? Do you guys remember that? We had multiple conversations about that. Yeah.
I think we laughed you and threatened to throw you out of the flex.
In our auction league, I literally drafted Gordon last. I dropped him for Michael Gallup because I was higher on Michael Gallup. How's that looking now? Al.
Whoa. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Coming from a Patriots fan, that's not something you normally want to say, but what can I say?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that. Shane called that one from the beginning. Now, in all fairness, I didn't think Josh Gordon was going to be a top 20 receiver.
30.
I did. Right. Well, I had him as wide receiver 28 in our rankings. Obviously, I was wrong there too. So I thought as a mid-range 3, he was good. I thought that he was being overdrafted in the 5th round. In the 8th round, I was more than happy to take him. Never happened, but I did scorn you for your take on that.
The thing is, we're all going to get takes wrong. As long as we get more takes correct than wrong, we're still doing okay, right?
As long as we bat 750, baby.
That's
750.
That's right.
That's our goal.
Kyle Jackson says, awesome, guys. RosterWatch Pro member, and he loves the site. Thank you so much, Kyle. Get yourselves a pro membership at RosterWatch. All the tools. I mean, guys, right now, the highest rated flex value on the week, according to DK pricing, is George Kittle this week with a projected score of 16.7 points. You guys too can have all this information if you get a pro membership over at rosterwatch.com for cheaper than a fair trade cup of coffee a month. But yet, says, this is something I wanted to ask you real quick. Kenyon Drake, third on the list, only priced at 4,400 with the 3.13 value at 13.75 points going against Washington. In the preseason, says, you had Kenyon Drake, I think at RB12. Was that 12 or 7
RB13.
or 9?
RB13.
Is Kenyon Drake a buy absolutely low right now for you?
Like very low.
Well, I mean, he was on waiver wires and redraft leagues, and up until this week, you probably could have offered. I mean, if you would have offered a 2nd-round pick to anyone in Dynasty would have him, they would snap call yes on that. I still believe in the talent. His efficiency numbers are still there. Just he hasn't gotten the usage. Now, this is a few different coaching staffs that have decided not to use him. You got to start to think that maybe there's something with his pass blocking or the way he practices. I don't know, but I thought that, instead of that Houston, when they traded for Duke Johnson, I thought they were actually going to go after Kenyon Drake instead, which would have got me really excited. I still believe in the talent. This is the week. I mean, if he doesn't do it this week, Kenyon Drake, when they're going to give him the ball a little bit more off the bye week, then maybe we have to reevaluate what's going on here. But I'm playing Kenyon Drake where I can. If you're decimated at running back, if you have Saquon Barkley and he's still out in injury, if you have Marlon Mack and he's on the bye, Josh Jacobs, and you're able to plug in Kenyon Drake, I'm happy to do so. This is a good week, good setup for him, especially in PPR.
Okay, can we just do a little play-by-play? Just real quick,
go ahead.
A little play-by-play. All right, so Jameis Winston fumbles the ball, recovers the ball. Jameis Winston fumbles the ball again. Carolina recovers the ball. And then Carolina just got a really nice sack, actually, on 1st down. So
Wait, you
I don't
just
know.
said Carolina recovered, so Carolina then
Oh,
fumbled.
excuse me. Then Carolina got sacked by Tampa
Got
Bay the
sacked.
very next play.
Okay.
This is quite the game, actually. It's an exciting
Quite
game.
the game. Yo mama
Yeah.
so fat's got to choose 2 flex non-PPR. Non-PPR.
Ooh, okay.
Tyreek Hill, Emmanuel Sanders, and Robert Woods. He's thinking Hill and Woods, and that's where I would go to.
Yeah.
And again, it really comes down to the fact that is Tyreek Hill going to be somebody that you can start confidently this week? Definitely not. Definitely not confidently. But as one Mr. Alan Seslowski always says, and Byron Lambert, which one will hurt you most if you didn't start them? And yeah, Emmanuel Sanders could definitely hurt you, but you will be absolutely sick if you just sat Tyreek Hill and watched him score an 80-yard touchdown in the
You wouldn't
first
be able
quarter.
to live with yourself. Can't live
You
with
wouldn't.
yourself. You
And so
should literally just kill yourself at that point. I'm telling you.
We're not condoning that, but
Well, those aren't the views of those are only Flex Matt's views. They're not mine.
Okay, listen. So, Yo Mama, I kind of agree with you. I think that, yes, they lost last week and it was a pretty deflating loss for KC, but I get to, he's their he's their sports car, okay? They wouldn't play Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill wasn't healthy and couldn't take hits. So for me, Al, we talked about this before. I'm pushing my chips in with Tyreek Hill, and I'm confident when I start him.
B. Ollie, Kirk not looking to play? Question mark. No, Kirk, I think
he's looking doubtful.
He's going to be out. He's going to be out.
That's a Schefter report. So
Mike Scott here. Tyler Boyd it is then. Thanks, guys. Badass podcast. Thanks for answering my questions. Really appreciate it, Mike. Thank you for tuning in this morning on a game day edition. We have
say hi to the crew at Dunder Mifflin for us, okay, Mike?
Michael Scott. Say hi to Dunder Mifflin's best, Michael Scott. We are about 10 to 15 minutes away from Byron Lambert hopping in here, joining us live. B. Ollie with another question here. PPR, Kiki QT, Dante Pettis, Goodwin, Paul Richardson, Danny Amendola, or Keyshawn Johnson. And I'm hoping you only need one of these guys instead of, play the
damn song. My goodness.
Now, if Cez is stacking the KC Houston game in DFS, do we like Kiki? How much do we like Kiki?
Going here.
Do we like how much Kiki QT is underrated this week?
Yeah, I mean, there's no Kenny Stills is dinged up.
Game time decision, I think they were saying.
Yeah, and even if he plays, he's probably not going to be 100% if he's a game time decision. Will Fuller, Kiki QT, this could be the week DeAndre Hopkins has one of those monster breakouts. He certainly do. It hasn't been for lack of performance. Is it a long shot dart throw in tournaments? Absolutely, but he's a live punt play at wide receiver 3 for sure.
Can I tell you exactly how I know Seslowski is going to answer this question?
Oh, I know, of course.
Yes.
There's only one answer.
Yeah, you're a Goodwin truther. You always have been, always will be. And a 50-point over-under, Seslowski, is your answer here in PPR, Marquise Goodwin.
Always.
Always.
Well, also, again, I've said it a couple.
Spiel.
Yeah, I'll give you the 10-second elevator pitch on this one. Marquise Goodwin was Jimmy G's go-to receiver in those last 6 games of 2017 before he got hurt, Jimmy G. And then obviously 2018 was a throwaway season. Goodwin has come on. He's the first look. Just how Jameis locks on to Goodwin to Chris Godwin. Jimmy G is locked on to Marquise Goodwin. He's got the elite speed. He's the field stretcher. He's the only one that has that role. This is the Shanahan offense is a plus offense. Sorry, this is longer than 10 seconds. Marquise Goodwin is a great player in a great system, and he has the eyes of his starting quarterback.
Marquise Goodwin, the highest targeted wide receiver in that offense last week. I was putting Debo in every spot. Now, I know with the tough matchup against Cleveland last week, just statistically a tough matchup, but geez, did you absolutely swindle me with the Debo Samuel. The guy was barely in any plays. Marquise Goodwin clearly, NOA, the number 1 receiver in that San Francisco offense outside of George Kittle.
And we're
What do we
assuming that's
do?
Keyshawn Johnson, right? Not Kerryon
That's
Johnson.
Keyshawn. Yeah,
That's
Keyshawn.
Keyshawn, right?
That's got to be Keyshawn. Do we want to absolutely just go nuts with
I'm good
this
with
and go Goodwin?
I'm
Should
good
we
with
go
Goodwin.
Goodwin?
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys know me. I'm the ultimate Kiki truther, but last week he got only 4 targets for 3 receptions. I mean, granted, 72 yards, right? So he's always an opportunity to get one of those long touchdowns, but I kind of want to see Kiki put up one of these games. I mean, granted, this is the first week where I didn't put him as my deep one because I copped out and I went Malcolm Brown, which doesn't even count. So he's probably going to go off today, but the right play here is Marquise Goodwin.
Marquise Goodwin, we're going to go ahead with that. Ewalp says, good morning, Flex Nation. What's up, Ewalps?
What up?
Welcome, brother. Byron Lambert should be joining us here from RosterWatch from SiriusXM here in about 10 to 15 minutes. Is that Alja? Is that how you say it? Alja? Dak Prescott or Gardner Minshew? Now, I'm playing Gardner Minshew pretty much every league that I have him in this week just because I really like Gardner Minshew. I think that he is the real deal. Now, over Dak Prescott, that one would be a little bit tougher, even though Dak seemingly has had a little bit of struggling games the last couple weeks. Going against the New York Jets this week, Dak Prescott in a 43.5 under. It's the 18th best matchup against opposing quarterbacks versus Gardner Minshew being the, what is that? Geez, that's like that's the 8th best matchup against opposing. Oh, no, yeah, okay. Well,
New Orleans is a good team. For me, it's really a question of floor here. And like you saw last week where Dak struggled pretty much all game, but then it was able to still put up like 23 points, 24 points. So for me, I'm going to go Dak here because I just like the floor. And you always know that he's got that upside opportunity. And like the Dallas game, it's a 43 over under against the Jets. I could see it going over. They're favored -6.5. We talked about Sam Darnold. He's back. We think that the Jets are a better team than the record might suggest, especially with Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold is a much better quarterback.
Sam Darnold playing this week?
Yeah, Sam Darnold's in this week. So
okay.
I can see that game going over. Whereas Gardner Minshew, I mean, against New Orleans, they're trying to slow things down. Alvin Kamara right now, I don't think is going to play. He's trending towards not playing, which means it could be a Latavius Murray kind of game. And we know that Teddy Bridgewater likes those short little passes. So it's going to be probably a Michael Thomas. It's going to be a Latavius Murray. They're probably going to want to slow things down. Marshawn Lattimore, again, is going to be becoming his best option, DJ Chark. So I would go Dak here. I think this is going to be the ultimate test game. We talked about it Friday night. This is going to be the test for Gardner Minshew. If he comes out, granted, it's at home. It's in Jacksonville. But still, if he comes out and he produces against the Saints, then I'm a believer.
Kamara and David Johnson both expected to play today.
Oh, Kamara is.
Now, Alja, does this change your mind at all? Alja has David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Kamara, and Lockett, Chark, Fitzgerald, and Catch TMC.
Oh,
does it change your mind at all if we put the stack of Chark and Minshew in there? Does that change your mind at all? I would probably say that if you have Kamara and David Johnson and Leonard Fournette, you're just starting those 3. So it would be David Johnson, Fournette, running back, Kamara in the flex. If you need 2 receivers, would you go with and says, I'll ask you this, would you go with Gardner Minshew over Dak Prescott if you had the baby Chark stack, or would you just keep it Fitzgerald and Catch TMC and go with Dak Prescott?
Yeah, I'm not in season-long fantasy football. I don't really, the stacking is kind of like a fun thing, but it's not an optimal thing if you're benching for better players. Yeah. I love Minshew. I think he is, like I said, a starting quarterback. I mean, he may not be top 12, but top 14, top 15, which in most 1 QB leagues, it's a starting quarterback since most people roster 2 QBs foolishly. But I wouldn't go over him with Dak. Dak is going to have a good day. I know the 2 starting tackles for Dallas are not going to be there today, but Dak Prescott against a putrid Jets team. I think he's going to get his today. Dallas is looking to get right after a not so great week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. It's a good question, but let's not overthink it. Let's put Dak Prescott in there.
Playing
Okay,
Dak, you're kind of diversifying your risk as well, right? If Chark does get shut down, then at least you've got Dak Prescott.
That's true. So we're going with Fitz, McLaurin, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, and Kamara. Oh, wait, we have Lockett in there. Oh, wait.
You got to start Lockett.
So Lockett against Cleveland or Fitzgerald and McLaurin, who, I mean, oh, man, that's tougher tonight than you would like to think it is. Are we just going to go ahead and put Lockett in just because, or do we like the better matchups with Fitzgerald and McLaurin?
Just because. Lockett's the better receiver.
Yeah.
Okay, so then who is it, Fitzgerald or Catch TMC in the last spot?
Catch TMC.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. Fitzgerald's been on fire. It's a good matchup today.
And if Christian Kirk's out.
Christian's out. We're going to go Larry Fitzgerald over Catch TMC. So there you got it. David Johnson, Fournette in the running back slots, Kamara in the flex, Tyler Lockett, and Larry Fitzgerald as your receivers, Alja. Thank you so much for the questions on a game day edition of the Flex Network. Ricky,
we missed Matthew White.
Matthew White. And Ricky, please tell us how to pronounce your last name so I don't blow it up. Gallup or Dede in the flex, full point PPR. Dede, again, we talked about Dede Westbrook just a second
I'm riding the horse, baby. I'm riding the horse.
But
Gallup's good though, man.
Gallup,
super efficient.
He's highly targeted in that offense. Okay. They're going, who is Dallas playing again? New York Jets with the 10th best matchup against opposing wide receivers, according to RosterWatch's matchup tool.
Michael Gallup had 14 targets last week.
14 targets last week. And if you guys who are listening, if you guys go to at the Flex Network 1 and you reference our Friday night Flex Finder podcast, we had Dynasty Vince from the Fantasy Freaks on, who called Michael Gallup this week to be one of his top flex plays this week. And we have to continue with that mantra, says. Isn't that correct? We got Michael Gallup over Dede Westbrook this week.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not close.
Well, I was saying it's not an out of the, it's not even close is a bit too far
14 targets. 14 targets last week.
Correct. And again, I worry a little bit about the Dallas passing game with the absence of those two tackles. I think that the Jets can get some pressure up the middle, which is why moments ago I asked you about starting the Jets defense in DFS. So I don't think it's out of bounds, the question, but it's certainly, like I said, I think that there's a clear-cut answer, and it's Michael Gallup.
Dede Westbrook with 11 targets last week. Just a sneaky play. But if you got Gallup, smoke it if you got it right here. So Ricky Murawski, of course, that was only too easy. He says, he goes, with Tyreek Hill active, should I play him over Robert Woods? Yes, I think you should go ahead and play him. If you got him, go ahead and play him. Also, he's got Fant playing in his tight end slot. If Hunter Henry is a go, should I swap Henry? Yes. Again, so we went over this a little bit earlier but I have every injured player that is coming back this week, and I've dropped all my backups for them. We're putting Hunter Henry right in the starting lineup. We're just going to see what happens. It can't be worse than Fant. I mean, you know what I mean? Or anybody else like this. It can't be worse than a 2.6 game for a Jimmy Graham. I mean, it just really can't get worse than that.
What do you think Hunter Henry being back does to Mike Williams? Anything?
I think it hurts him.
Well, the problem is that we just don't know how much of a game that I think Melvin Gordon eats more into Mike Williams than it does Hunter Henry. Just because I think Hunter Henry, they're running Mike Williams down the field and hoping for 50-50 catch balls. I mean, when you're talking about guys over the middle, and that's Hunter Henry. If you're talking about Melvin Gordon losing his opportunity to Eckler, to me, those two players eat more into Michael Williams's shares than Hunter Henry does to Mike Williams. So, the
big thing about Mike Williams, a lot of the hype was the fact that he got 10 touchdowns last year. He has 0 so far this year, I believe.
Are we selling or buying Mike Williams in Dynasty? Says
Buying.
You're buying now. Why would you buy him?
Well, he's still the same talented guy. For some reason, they just he hasn't gotten the target share. He was a little dinged up. First of all, the price is cheaper now. You could probably get him for a 2020 second. Would you agree on that? If a frustrated Mike Williams owner on a middling team,
I could probably see that.
I don't want
a middling team. Yeah, like if you're not going to make the playoffs, then yeah, I can maybe see that. But right. I think that Mike Williams people are truthers, right? Like I've never really bought into Mike Williams. I don't love him, especially with Hunter Henry back. I think that Mike Williams' upside was that touchdown.
All right. Let me ask you this: who do you think in Dynasty, if you could have one of them straight up, would you rather have Stephon Diggs or would you rather have Mike Williams?
Diggs.
I would rather have Diggs, but
I'd rather have Mike Williams. Now. But
that's tough, man.
No, I'm saying that's what, I mean, in the beginning of the year, you would have said Stephon Diggs, no doubt. This guy's on the rise, but it's just he's not going anywhere. The passing offense is not good. He doesn't get consistent targets, and Kirk Cousins is either at best an average quarterback at best, whereas Phillip Rivers is still peaking. He's probably still a real life top 12 NFL quarterback. And Mike Williams is going to get fed the rock. It's at some point. I'd rather have
Williams. Yeah, I don't know.
You just are soured on the guy because he's and he's tethered to an old quarterback too, which is
But has Rivers showed any performance drop off in the last couple of years? I haven't seen anything.
No, but when you're paying a 2020 second with just a stellar class coming in, I just would rather bet on somebody I might be able to get like Catch TMC versus where he's on the uprise even with a terrible quarterback.
But you always love the shiny toy, Matt.
Well, right, yeah.
Al's a little bit more old reliable.
Yeah, Al is like an old curmudgeon Scatman Crothers.
O-L apostrophe.
Scatman Crothers is reserved for a special few. Darius Geis got the Scatman Crothers the other. So I mean, just so anyone knows, the Scatman Crothers is from the movie The Shining. Scatman Crothers spent the whole movie trying to get to the hotel. He spent through blizzards, through traffic, through all this crazy stuff. The minute he shows up to where he's trying to go, he walks into the hotel and before he says a word, gets an axe right to the chest and he's dead again. I mean, literally, he finally accomplishes his goal. And that's what happened to Darius Geis. He went through the whole offseason, went through the training, had the setbacks, gets on the field, and what's happened? Axe to the chest, out again. Hunter Henry, same thing.
Don't be like that, Al. Don't be like that. Hunter Henry's back. He's healthy. He's going to stay healthy.
Right. If it happens again today, will he officially go in the Scatman Crothers bucket?
100%.
Matt, you agree? If Hunter Henry goes down again today, Scatman Crothers for him?
Yeah. I would be so upset. I would be so upset if that happened. I would be so upset.
Our Scatman Crothers guys. Okay, our boy Isaac's got a question here.
PPR as a flex army warrior, Calvin Ridley or Lat Murray. I hate Latavius Murray. Always have, always will. I'm out on Lat Murray. Give me Calvin Ridley in a high over-under game against Arizona. Give me Calvin Ridley in another week on the skyrocketed path, baby.
You just made me think of something. Yeah, Isaac, Lat Murray's not in play with Alvin Kamara in the mix today. He was picked up everywhere, Lat Murray, because of just the feeling that there was some sentiment that Alvin Kamara might not play. But can I ask you guys a question here from another DFS? Or we just want to go through more of these starts.
Hold on, let me get through.
The next lull in the action. Come to me on a DFS question.
Let me get to Scott Kemet's question here. We are a nation. Yes, and we have Byron Lambert soon to be joining us from RosterWatch. They just finished their game day edition on Sirius XM. Ewalps, team name, living the Christian life, 5-0, full point PPR as everybody should be playing. Flexing James Conner, Melvin Gordon, these are your honest options. What kind of league are you playing in, Walps?
Like,
jeez,
one
James Conner. Just choose one. James Conner, Melvin Gordon, Tyler Boyd, Christian Kirk is out, so we're not gonna play Kirk or Ty Freak. it's Ty Freak or James Conner for me. Go ahead, says. I mean, what kind of league is this?
Ewalps, you're going to get it from me too. You just took it on the chin from Matt and Shane, but you need to get into a league that is not just a bunch of your deadbeat office friends who don't know anything about fantasy football. Either you cleaned up in a 12-person league, or you're in some cockamamie 8-person league. But that said, you have a problem. We're problem solvers. Now that we've shamed you, I'm going to tell you, play James Conner. And if you really don't like how he looks, how can you got to go nuclear, right, Shane, and take Ty Freak.
Get nuclear, that's right.
Actually, what you should do, Ewalps, is package 3 of these guys for a freaking DeAndre Hopkins or something. I mean, I would be much more happier answering this question if Melvin Gordon, Christian Kirk, and Tyreek Hill were shipped off for DeAndre Hopkins. And then we wouldn't have to answer this question every week. Walps, geez, Walps, what kind of leagues are you playing in here?
Guys. This is a perfect segue for in the offseason, we're going to get a flex network listener league going, perhaps Dynasty. And Ewalps, you are invited to join us and see what it's like not playing in an 8-man league, because this is just crazy. And you know what?
And it's only $1,000 entry, so don't worry about it.
It's only $1,000 entry. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I'm not going to be controversial here. Okay, but I'm not. Let's just put it. I don't go to church. You know, I'm not a church going person. But in the possibility that this is like a 10 or maybe a 12-person league, Ewalps, I may just have to start going to church with a team like that. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
So here he goes. He says, yeah, he knows. He goes, it's his last week with Connor, Boyd, and Melvin Gordon already shipping them. If you're shipping James Conner and Tyler Boyd, Ewalps, you better be getting somebody. You better be getting Dalvin. You better no, he doesn't play Dynasty. Remember, he was on our FlexFinder podcast. Right. Yeah. So if you're going to do 10 team, he says, if you're going to ship James Conner and Tyler Boyd in a 10-team league, you better be getting Dalvin Cook coming back, or you better be getting Terry McLaurin and Christian McCaffrey or something like that, Walps. We really need to swindle for a 2-for-1 this week, Ewalps. So let's go to Alja's comment, or no, Donald Laster. Browns defense or Washington's defense? Listen, Donald, how disrespectful is that? Okay. Do you know who? Take this comment off here. Donald Laster, do you know what team I root for here? Don't you ever play a defense against the Seattle Seahawks. You'll know what you'll get there. You got to go Washington.
As soon as I heard him this question come up, I knew he was in for a verbal lashing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be reserved here because I like Donald Laster. I like him a lot. Let's go Washington there. Not even give any more time on it. Go ahead, says. No, we don't talk about it anymore. Okay. Says, what do you got from the Slack chatter, the DFS question that you have?
Oh, yes. I mean, a couple of the more interesting ones were are you playing Mark Andrews or George Kittle today? I thought that one was interesting. And again, that's you say, oh my God, he's got these great options, but you took George Kittle in the 2nd or 3rd round and you backed him up because you didn't like the options in the 9th round with Mark Andrews. You could definitely have both of these guys. He said he can't play one in the flex because he has a better player. So he's deciding weekly between these two. George Kittle, a little dinged up this week, finally got in the end zone. Mark Andrews, the number one option, a couple slower weeks off of after a couple monster weeks. Guys, I think this is a really tough call. Do we just don't overthink it and go George Kittle here?
Don't overthink it. Go George Kittle. Number one on the DFS player values against Vegas props based off the RosterWatch's.com's Vegas player prop tool with the 16.7 prop. Go ahead. One more.
Yeah, Robert Woods or DJ Shark. You guys take this one.
Baby Shark over Robert Woods. Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead, Shane. Let me look up the flex value here.
No, I would go Woods here. Again, just going back to the fact that it's probably going to be Marshawn Lattimore covering DJ Shark this week. When you have an option like Robert Woods, who he's getting the targets, he's getting the touches. It's just a matter of he needs to get into the end zone. This could be the week. So for me, if it's my team, I'm starting Robert Woods. That's tough. That's really tough, but I'm starting Robert Woods.
So on again, RosterWatch's Vegas player props tool. Vegas has Chark at 12.75 points PPR. Robert Woods at 13.65. A little closer than I think the question would entail. So yeah, we're gonna go Robert Woods. I like Robert Woods. I bought Robert Woods last week. I'm okay to take a down Robert Woods week for what's coming up. I just like Robert Woods. He is the ever so awesome good floor, high ceiling play. There's not a lot of receivers out there with a good floor and a good ceiling. Look at Brandon Cooks, very much a ceiling receiver.
Yeah.
But the guy that we were all wrong on, Cooper Kupp, has it all as well.
Okay, let's stop for a second.
Let's be careful with saying we were wrong.
Well, because I'm first to say we're wrong, but this is what we faded him based on the history of ACL injuries. ACL injuries, especially when they happen in week 9 the previous year, typically the player doesn't get back to full strength until it's 16 to 18 months after the injury. Who knew that Cooper Kupp drank some of Adrian Peterson's blood from 2007 and had the super healing power that we've never seen before? Not only got back up to speed, is actually better than he was before. Faster too.
Donald Laster here says LOL to what we said about his Browns defense, but look at him. He says he's a Browns fan. Donald Laster, take this bit of information.
Here we go.
As the last time I'm going to go ahead and tell you this.
We got Byron in here.
Quit drafting your home team
What's up, boys?
players. What's going on, Byron Lambert from @RosterWatch? Byron, I was just getting into ripping one of our guests here because he asked me.
This is what we do. We rip our fans.
What do you rip them? That's what my dad used to tell me. He said, "I'm going to rip you
a new one."
Yeah, I don't know if they say that in Canada, Shane, but that's what they say down here.
Yeah.
Byron, he asked if we are playing the Browns defense against the Seahawks or the Redskins defense against Miami. And then he told us he was a Browns fan. And then, Byron, I told him to quit drafting your own team's players because that's not how we win in fantasy football. Right, Byron? Tell him.
Man, that's a cockamamie strategy, right?
Yeah. Byron said it last week, though, that he doesn't have team fandom anymore. He's all player fandom. This guy would draft Saddam Hussein if it would get
here we go.
I hate to admit it, but I think Alan may actually be right on that. You're playing Redskins defense. Let's fire through, guys. Let's hit a bunch of questions here.
All right, so right here we're going to go up to Alja's comment. Do y'all like Hunter Henry over Witten this week here, Byron?
I went ahead and slotted Henry in as like a top 10 guy this week. So let me just double check our rankings here. Where do we have Witten? Witten, I have. Jason Witten, we have as I have Hunter Henry over Witten.
And the other question that we keep getting is like Mark Andrews over Hunter Henry. Like, how far are you willing to go with Hunter Henry here? Is he a top?
Probably not above. Like, I know Disley's my 6, so I'm probably not going above 7 or 8, man.
Okay. Shane, Matt jumped off the chat for a minute. I'm
back.
I think you push Hunter Henry up over a Gerald Everett now with Brandon Cooks back in, and
And then the other question that we have is like, what does this do to the rest of the Chargers receivers? Like, how do you see this affecting them?
I mean, I've always been of the mindset that there was going to be an early season boon, for the principal receivers and potentially for Phillip Rivers early on for the Chargers with Gordon out, you know what I mean? And then when Henry went down, that was good for Keenan. I'm not sure it was good for Phillip Rivers, but yeah, I expect now. I mean, I think Keenan we've probably seen the best of his season. He's still a good play the rest of the year. Mike Williams with 13 targets last week. I don't see how that keeps up, although very, very encouraging. I think he's a nice flex and maybe a wide receiver 3, with upside the rest of the season. I think Hunter Henry coming back is good for Phillip Rivers. The disaster is that offensive line, man. That's a big, big problem. Henry's at least a guy he can get the ball off to quickly. So, it's a little bit of a cannibalistic situation for sure.
And they lost Russell Okung, too, this week, right? He's out.
I mean, that Charger, the word around the league for a while, I've picked it up while I've been at training camps over a handful of years is, I mean, the Chargers have a notorious reputation within the league circles of having like the worst training staff in the league.
Oh, really?
And at some point you say, I mean, at some point the injury is okay. It's just injuries are injuries, and you can't really, those just happen. There's no explanation for them. It's random, right? But it's just year after year, the Chargers get blindsided by injuries. After a while, you say maybe there's some truth to those rumors.
Well, San Francisco, didn't they go and fire all of their training staff?
That's a good question. Maybe so. I'm not aware of that, but I mean, the stuff. That's the kind of stuff. Dude, the good organizations are the winning organizations, and that really includes everything, man. Anyways, let's keep going, guys.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So Sam, should he start Cousins over Wentz in a standard league?
I think probably so, man. I like Thielen this week. It's a better matchup. Wentz has been better on the season. Don't love Wentz this week. I probably start Cousins. I mean, should I look at our rank? Let's just double check the rankings here. I hope I'm not saying anything too cockamamie. Carson Wentz we have as our 14 guy. Cousins we have as our 18 guy. It's just me and let's see.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? And I'm the one that's low on Cousins here. Alex was high on him. I'm looking at this. I mean, I would update this ranking now that I'm looking at it, man. So I would go with Kirk Cousins this week, and that's the way Alex has it very close. He has those guys as like low-end QB1s. I have them both as QB2s. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to play the matchup when it's close like that. It's always tough. When it's on your team, you look at these things, even closer,
Right, when you have stake in the game. Anytime you have stake in the game, that's how you can really
you're doing rankings off of 1,000 different inputs, and you're trying to get as precise as you can. And there's like always that thing where like when you've got those two guys on your team, when you got a Tom Brady and Kyler Murray on your team, like now you're going to figure out who's the 6, who's the 7. You got a Jared Goff and a Phillip Rivers, who's the 12, who's the 11. That's when the decisions, like that's when you've really splitting the hairs in these rankings,
Hey, Byron, so we had a lot of questions about Hunter Henry. I am also a Hunter Henry owner. I was one of those guys that was just all over Henry where we could draft him this year. And, I didn't hit on a lot of I hit on Mark Andrews in a lot of leagues, but I only hit on Mark Andrews in the leagues that I have Kelsey or Kittle. I didn't hit on him in the Hunter Henry leagues.
So you waited on tight end to take a back.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You should trade Kelsey, man. What are you doing?
That's what I'm thinking. So here's my idea with Hunter Henry. In all of the leagues where I have Hunter Henry and I've got maybe Alan Seslowski said on our Flex Finder podcast, a Darren Fells play the song about Darren Fells. But am I just absolutely dropping? Yes. Am I absolutely dropping anyone who I've picked up in wait for Hunter Henry and just slotting him in now? We had the question of B. Ollie, Hunter Henry over Vance McDonald this week. What do you like? Just in answer to my question and then in answer to B. Ollie's question here.
Yeah, I'm playing Hunter Henry over Vance McDonald. And then in your leagues where you have Kelsey and Mark Andrews, you should be trying to trade Travis Kelsey, especially when he comes off of a big week. And then what was your question about your leagues with Hunter Henry?
Well, just the idea that anybody, with the tight end position being so just of big detriment this year, anybody I've picked up, like Jason Witten, anybody, I'm just dropping those guys. I'm sliding Hunter Henry back in.
You got to take your chances, man. You got to take your chances, right? What do you have to lose?
Exactly. What do you think about Robbie Anderson?
Gets a Jamal Adams and all this kind of cockamamie business in New York today, man.
What do you think about Robbie Anderson this week and moving forward? A guy that you haven't been able to play all year. If you held pat, maybe good for you. But what do you think about Robbie Anderson this week?
Yeah, I don't like Robbie Anderson the next 3 weeks. I suppose if you have to play him, you can, just because he's Darnold's number one and Noah Nunwa for the season. Herndon's still not back in. I mean, Anderson's a slippery cat that can get open on anybody, man. So, and he's got big play potential. I think if you have to play him, you can this week. I'm starting a guy like Preston Williams over him in the league where I've held him this long. But I absolutely am bananas for Robbie Anderson down the stretch for winning teams this season. He has the best schedule in all of fantasy from weeks 9 through 14. If you just open up the schedule, your eyes will pop out of your head. But the next 3 weeks are really tough. I mean, Dallas isn't a great matchup. I think he's got New England mixed in there, and there's one other tough one mixed in there as well. So I'm bullish on Robbie Anderson as a stash for winning teams. That could be a guy that just goes absolutely ham in your wide receiver three down the stretch.
So Sam with another question here. Sorry, says he's got one flex spot open. Should he play Hooper, Cooks, or Preston Williams? Need this game with a 1-4 record.
I mean, Cooks is going to be the guy that probably pops in the range. I mean, he's going to be higher. Williams we have as a low-end wide receiver 3 as much as I like him. Cooks just comes in. You can't rank Cooks anything less than a low-end wide receiver 2, maybe high-end wide receiver 3. So Cooks versus Preston Williams. I mean, I'm not going to come in here and go against the rankings. I like Preston, but a lot goes into those. We got to go with Brandon Cooks. I don't think you feel bad about that, man. Putting Brandon Cooks in the lineup.
Through 5 weeks, you got Austin Hooper as tight end 1. I mean, you don't think that's a solid?
Well, so it's Hooper versus Cooks, and I think it's a solid play. That's why he's asking. I've just historically never had success with 2 tight end lineups. So if you've already got a tight end, I mean, why is Hooper not who you're starting in your tight end? Who the hell do you have in your tight end? So if that's your situation, you should be trading the best tight end on your team and rolling to improve your roster and rolling with Hooper rest of the season, or selling high on Austin Hooper while everybody's thinks he's a legit tight end 1. I mean, that might be the better move. If you own a Kelsey or something, I might just hold on to the best guy in that case and see if I can get people to overpay for Hooper. It's very hard to start two tight ends and ever feel good about it. So it's Hooper versus Cooks for me. I'm probably leaning towards Cooks if that's going to make it a 2 tight end lineup for me to put Hooper in. But that's a tough call, man. You can play the matchups, play the targets, play the snap counts, play the Vegas game total. That's the line of logic I'd probably go down. Also the game script, who's a favorite, who's going to be playing from behind, those kind of things.
And I mean, in terms of Brandon Cooks, I mean, he's coming off of a concussion, which means you're either in or you're out when it comes to concussions. It's not like it's a lingering shoulder or a hamstring or something like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about Brandon Cooks this week either.
Mason
he's
Rudolph.
the guy that needs to get loose, man. I mean, Robert Woods, I mean, that's a thing that's going to trade off a little bit between Cooks and Woods all year because Woods gets the volume, but Cooks gets the high value targets. And I think when it's all said and done, if you can remove injury, Cooks is the guy who ends up pretty much being the 2A in that offense when it's said and done. So I think you feel good. And against somebody like maybe a Richard Sherman or one of these cats, I think he's got a decent chance. Richard Sherman's going to lock down a guy like a Robert Woods. I'm not saying it's a one, he may not travel with all of them, but I like Cooks to maybe pop a little more against a good secondary like that.
Byron Lambert joining us from @RosterWatch. Byron, you put on just the most majestic trade casts out there, but Alex Dunlap, your partner, we are trying to get us here to 500 reviews on the Apple Podcasts here. We are at 499, guys. And Alex,
is it at 499?
It's at 499. And Alex says if we don't get to 500 by this week, no more trade casts for the general public. So please. Well,
you know what? I don't want the general public to have the trade cast. I use it as a valuable tool selfishly. Now,
it's a tough call, man. When you go in and search for the RosterWatch podcast on Apple Podcast, I love doing this work and putting the content out there. It's always lost on me, the followers and loyal fans we have, and we're so grateful and thankful for you guys. We really are. We're on the front line for all of y'all's fantasy teams, literally 12 months out of the year, out on the road, traveling this country, scouting prospects. Alex is scouting the college guys from early. We're the number one guys out on the road for the rookies. And then obviously all the training camps and NFL work. So very thankful and grateful for all of our loyal subscribers. But it's crazy to me when I look at Apple Podcasts and I see that the popularity meter on the trade cast is it's it's a max.
Yeah, it's
there's a
breaking
ton of
popularity.
people listening to that. So
the reason is because not just you're saying, hey, you're not making these unrealistic suggestions. You're breaking down the art of the trade, and you're telling how to deal with different personalities, because there are different personalities when it comes to trade. And so that's what the most interesting part of it is. You go into the art of the deal, for lack of a better word.
well, I got some good ones I'm already observing for next week. So for those of you who maybe haven't given the Tradecast a listen yet, all of you guys can find that every Wednesday of the season over at Apple Podcasts. The RosterWatch podcast is the exclusive Tradecast that I host. And of course, you can find all of that at RosterWatch.com. All right, boys, let's rapid fire here for about 15 minutes on questions.
Christopher Montz, PPR flex play, MVS, Matt Breida, or Marvin Jones Jr.
I'm pretty sure it's Matt Breida.
Matt Breida this week in a really nice matchup. Here we go. Eagles fan goes, I need your help. And then he gets instantly trolled by our boy Isaac here. Definitely he needs help. Help
I like
this
Isaac,
guy.
man. I like Isaac.
Isaac's awesome.
He's a good character.
And then Eagles fan tells him to shut his mouth, and he needs 2 running backs and a flex PPR. Melvin Gordon, Devontae Freeman, David Johnson, Dalvin Cook. He doesn't want to get
what kind of
DJ.
cockamamie 8-man league is this?
Why are you even asking if you're going to start Dalvin Cook, Mike? Come on, man.
You're better than this, Mike.
You're better than
that,
this.
that is a come on, man. So it's down to the other 3.
Well, he says he doesn't want to get DJ swindled because he doesn't have Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, I mean, so it would be Dalvin Cook and David Johnson if we had no concern.
Well, he needs
about
3.
it.
It's the
David
question is
Johnson.
who's sitting here. And it's
Yeah.
He needs 3. He needs 3. Okay.
it's Freeman, right?
Freeman is the guy you bench right now,
Yeah.
I think. If you get worried about David Johnson, then you put Freeman in for him. But yeah, Freeman you bench. Melvin Gordon's got the good game script. They're pretty big. You know, they're obviously big favorites tonight. So I think you're going to see a good workload for Melvin Gordon.
Eagles fan says Byron with his good look, stylish hair, and he's such a smooth talker, this guy.
Now he's
He
sucking
says,
up.
yeah, but now he's trashing Al, says he needs a hat to cover the lack of the hair, but he does.
Look at Mike. Look who's talking. That guy.
Hey,
He's got a head like a marble.
Hey,
Yeah,
flattery will take you far, Eagles fan.
he says what's not a tough call is following RosterWatch Nation and the Flex Network. Thank you.
Appreciate
So
it.
we got Clipboard Jesus here, Kenyon Drake or Miles Sanders.
Mm.
Alex told me he loves Kenyon Drake today.
I'm right there with you.
So there you go.
If it doesn't happen today, Byron, for Drake, when's it going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's not. So I'm going to go with Alex. It's sounding like one he's looked into quite a bit. And I mean, Miles Sanders, I think he's had a couple breakout opportunities. I'm not sure on the road at Minnesota is the one. And even so, he's just the snap percentage just hasn't been in the right direction for Miles Sanders.
Now, I know
No.
it's not been a great start for him, and we kind of expected that. But are you still optimistic for Sanders in the dynasty leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I like him in I've always said I think we need to see Miles Sanders for what he is. And I mean, that's ultimately they see him and view him. He's like a Kerryon Johnson. I would set Kerryon Johnson as my comp for Miles Sanders. And even in Dynasty, I think it's a reasonable comp.
So Chris Tiz with the comment, should he try to trade Kittle? So this is in reference to your comments before. If we had Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, go ahead, ship Kelce. So I'm assuming this is a similar ideal here with Kittle and probably someone good on the bench.
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, it just you might take a little ding because of the groin injury news, on Kittle right now that he may or may not finish today's game, may or may not be limited. I don't know. What's the trade market in your league for George Kittle? But yeah, if you've got two tight, I mean, the bottom in concept, in theory, for those of you who've developed two great tight end options in a year where tight end is so thin and your league mates are starving at tight end, you guys should be leveraging that to improve your starting lineup, man. You can't leave a top 5 or 8 tight end in this kind of environment on your bench every week, man, unless your starting lineup's already loaded. I mean, this is something I'll get to on the Tradecast this week, but yes, we always want to maximize the equity across our roster in the early season before we eventually, ship it all to our starting lineup for the our biggest artillery heading into the playoffs. But you can't send, even if a trade looks, if you think you're getting a good deal, you in this portion of the season, you cannot send quality starters to your bench in a deal, and unless your starting lineup is already pretty much maxed out. And most of the time, I see guys saying, "I want to take this trade. I'm going to trade my best tight end for these two guys," but like that sends like an awesome flex to my bench every week, and now I'm like kind of weak at tight end. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? Like you really and generally shouldn't be sending good players to your bench in any of these trades unless you're loaded at the starting line. You certainly can't do it at the expense of your starting lineup. So while you may be taking on players you feel have great value to your entire roster, that's the general concept at this level of the season, but we can never do that at the expense of our starting lineup.
And
never.
I just want to ask you, what do you think is the best week to have the trade deadline in most redraft leagues? We get that question a lot.
What is it, like 10 or 11 usually? I mean,
do you like
I
having
think the later is better, man. I mean,
Okay.
for me, I like being able to make deals all the way to the end. I think we're grown adults. Vetoes, maybe that's another thing I'll talk about is I hate those. I mean, to me, if you're playing in a league with a bunch of shitbirds, you shouldn't be playing in that league. So if you're playing in a league with decent folks, we're all grown adults that have the license to hammer out deals between each other. And I mean, unless there's like obvious collusion, man, I don't think anybody can step in. And I like the ability to make those deals all the way to the end. I mean, what's the main concern is that people are going to be like dumping players at the end of the season and stuff like that. Like if they're already losing, I don't know. That's what kind of shitbird league is that? Anymore?
In our podcast, we always talk about like creating the perfect league, and vetting the players is really important. Don't just grab guys. Really go through guys that you know are true fantasy football players and that have the spirit of the game in mind.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, that's a great philosophy. It'd be interesting to develop a process to make that easy for everybody, maybe. But anyways,
yeah, your boy Curtis Samuel just got in the end zone.
Jesus,
following a camera.
I love it because he's on my bench, and I love Curtis Samuel, and I certainly think he was poised for a big year with Cam Newton, but I had a tough choice between Curtis. I had to start two of these three: Preston Williams, Damian Williams, and Curtis Samuel today.
Ooh,
and you
I hate this damn London game.
Game, as you guys call
it.
Yeah,
I benched Samuel because in my mind, the industry has Samuel over Williams this week, but I like Preston Williams just to get the targets a little bit more at home in a good matchup. And then
don't say damn it yet; it's not over yet.
Damian Williams was like an RB2 this week. I don't really like him, but you start saying, in my flex, do I want an RB2 on the Chiefs offense in a 56 game total, or do I want a wide receiver 3 and a Kyle Allen offense in London? It's just tough calls. We'll see what happens. How many receptions does Curtis Samuel have, guys? Do y'all have it up
today? I'm not sure.
All right. Well, let's keep firing through questions.
Okay, so Butterfinger 87 says, you guys think Kirk is playing today? If so, is he a flex? No, Kirk. I believe Kirk is not playing today. So no. Scott Kemet, what's
might
going
still be
on,
a buy
brother?
low if you can get him as a throw in this week.
Yes.
He may be on your wire even this week. We'll see.
That Curtis Samuel was an end around handoff. It wasn't a catch.
Oh, was it? Okay, handoff.
It was a rush.
How far out?
About
8 yards.
Oh, it was 8. Okay, I saw him running back.
It wasn't a monster.
It wasn't a monster.
The good news is his trade value is at least going up on my bench a little bit.
There you go.
13.9 fantasy points. Curtis Samuel, two.
Damn it!
It wouldn't be RosterWatch Nation if somebody wasn't on tilt.
Byron Lambert is on full tilt right here on a game day edition of the RosterWatch Flex Network, Week 6, start sit. Eckler or Malcolm Brown? We are a nation. Eckler or Malcolm Brown, Byron?
Boy, that sure is a tough one. I think Malcolm Brown.
Oh,
is that a sick? Is that sick? I mean,
sick. Well, you know what? I
flex.
Eckler is insulated. I mean, he's like wide receiver 10 or 11 on the year just with his passing numbers. I know that Melvin Gordon's back, but I feel like Eckler's very insulated with it.
Did it say if that was a PPR league?
Let's assume it is for a minute. Let's assume it is.
It probably is, right? So let me
see.
It's not crazy though, like I said, because we're getting the number one running back on the Rams. I mean, he is getting 68% of the touches today.
Hey guys, remember Darrell Henderson? All the Darrell Henderson hype.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
So the
Well, we
Chargers
got a
are
question.
favorites. What is this matchup for Malcolm Brown? It's a red 26. I mean, that is a good 49ers defense.
It is.
I don't know, man. Todd Gurley has 5 touchdowns on the season. It seems like Malcolm Brown's probably going to get one this week, man.
I don't hate it, but you just said it so easily, which is why it wasn't, there was, now he's in a timeshare, Eckler. So yeah, you could be right.
And I'm not sure it's a timeshare for Malcolm Brown. He could get most of the work today.
I'm living in the past.
Those are 2 good options, right? 2 good options.
Well,
excellent.
right here, Clipboard Jesus says, doesn't know if he answered this question or not, but does he put Darrell Henderson into his starting lineup at all, Byron? What are you thinking about that?
Only an emergency situation. But
Only
it can be
in
done.
emergencies. So did we go Malcolm Brown over Eckler?
I
We
did.
did,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's 2 good options, but why not
John
get the guy who's going to get the
Sullivan.
touches on a good offense, man?
Sully, the banana hammock roster watch champion in the house. CM, he's got Christian
Flexing on you
McCaffrey.
Oh, shit. You know what? I'm pretty sure I'm playing
Flexing
Sully this
on
week.
you guys. He's
He's playing me this week, I'm
on
pretty
the
sure.
Flex Network
Damn it.
live on the Roster Watch broadcast.
Yeah, well, Sully sucks, so we don't
He
even
does
have to
suck.
worry about this guy. Sully is like 2 and 3 with CMC and
Oh.
Saquon Barkley. If you can imagine that,
He's about
Sully
to
is on
mushroom
full
stamp every one
twill.
of you clowns the rest of the way. I can't wait to be hanging out with Sully, all expenses
Damn it.
paid, back-to-back league champion, Roster Watch Nation at the draft in Vegas this year. You guys are going to have to pray to God something happens to Sully this season.
Oh my
Ugh.
God bless. He's got lucky with the
can't.
pick. Jeff Craig here, 12-team standard, 2 receivers and a flex, please. Thielen, Galladay, Tyler Boyd, Gallup, or Shady McCoy. 12-team standard, 2 receivers and a flex.
Like all those guys, right? I mean, except for maybe Shady, because we're not sure. Thielen, I'm getting in Thielen and Tyler Boyd this week.
Okay, so there's
Is
your
that
2
wrong?
receivers.
You guys
Is it
hate that? I like
Galladay?
Well, Galladay's
Galladay or
playing the
Gallup?
Monday Nighter, but TJ
Galladay or
Hawkinson is
Gallup?
back or looking to be back.
I mean, to
So-
me, it's Thielen, and then you got to decide between Galladay and Boyd.
Well, it's 3. 2 receivers and
right,
a
a 3?
flex.
Okay, that's who I want. Thielen,
Who do-
Galladay, Boyd.
There
Thielen,
you go.
Galladay, Boyd from Byron Lambert. Christopher Mont says the Roster Watch Nation Tradecast is fire. And I also agree that he doesn't want others to have it. Well,
Hey, we got a
still are-
question we got a question for Byron that came through on the Slack channel, guys.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's DD or Gallup in full PPR.
We had this one before
I'm
too,
gonna
didn't we?
roll. I think
Yeah,
I'm going to roll with Gallup, man.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Going to roll with Gallup. Mike Yeager, again, Eagles fan. Flex PPR, Duke Johnson, Rashad Penny, Kalen Balaj, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Eifert. Play the song on
What are you
this
doing?
league.
What is Eagles fan doing getting multiple questions in here? You better not be jumping the line from the rest of Roster Watch.
No, we're good. We're good. We don't have a ton.
Let's see here.
He's got the
Duke
VIP
Johnson.
line, Byron.
Exactly.
He's got the VIP line.
I think it's Duke Johnson, right? Just pray that finally
Penny-
this is the game script they traded him
I
for.
just saw Penny's been ruled out for today.
Fucking Rashad Penny, man.
Yeah, he's ruled out today. So
Preston Williams, Jamison Crowder, Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown, right?
Malcolm Brown.
Yeah.
Malcolm
Those are sweet
Brown.
options. You guys are developing sweet options every week on your bench. Way to
That's because we're listening to the trade cast, Byron, every single week as we buy low, extra low, and we swindle high, Byron. Thanks to Roster Watch Nation on the trade cast. Byron, we have a question from B. Ollie. It's
Oh
not
my
even a
God.
Not a
question.
question. Always on
Can't
tilt.
read that one. Come on.
Winston should be. No, he shouldn't, guys. John Sullivan seems to think that he's going to be in Vegas with Roster Watch this
Can't
year,
wait,
all
man.
expenses paid.
Yeah,
We
wait.
have
Does that include gambling money too, Byron, by the way?
I think when you go back to back and Roster Watch Listener League champion, it certainly does.
Okay, all right. Give him some chips with that.
Yeah.
Byron, I'm gonna ask you a
We're going to have him come sit down at the poker table with me for a little while.
I like that. Byron, I
We
got a
have-
question selfishly from one of my leagues since we're waiting for a few questions to roll
all right.
here. In my flex this week, should I be playing Michael Gallup or Philip Lindsay? PPR. I got
I meant to
Lindsay
say
in there
it
right
on the
now.
Sirius XM show. I didn't get to it. I had a dream last night about Philip Lindsay touchdowns, man.
I got
Whoa.
Philip
I like
Lindsay.
Michael Gallup, and I think the PPR is an equalizer, but boy, I'm pretty sure I'm putting Philip Lindsay in, man. That game's in Denver, right?
I
Yeah.
don't remember. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it is.
See here,
Is
I'll
it?
take a look. Yeah, it's
So
in
we-
Denver against Tennessee. I like it.
Yeah, two good options, man. But I just, Lindsey feels a little bit safer, and I'd say the upside is fairly similar. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody told me Michael Gallup had a 15, 20-point game this week.
We saw 14 targets last week for Michael Gallup.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if he had a big old burly monster. But Philip
So we
Lindsay's
have,
capable of it as well, right?
We got
Love it.
Clayton. Hold on. We got Clayton Craig up here. He says, why the love for Jamison Crowder on the ultimate waiver wire cheat sheet this week, Byron?
Ugh.
I love some love for the ultimate waiver wire cheat sheet. We'd spend so much time talking about the trade cast, man. That waiver wire cheat sheet has been my labor of love for like 8 years now, every Tuesday of the season. And the trades are important, but the waiver wire is even more important, right? So I think we're doing pretty well there this season. Every one of these questions you guys are buzzing in with are tough. They're all flex, sit, starts, and that's because you developed amazing options on your bench. So give me that question one more time here. Jamison Crowder. Why the love?
Why high on Crowder looking?
Look at the targets in week 1 with Sam Darnold. Again, no Herndon, no Enunwa. Just think, it's that love is really in a PPR format. It's really PPR, maybe half point PPR, but he's just a guy. It was a thinner week on the waiver wire. He's a guy we really have to look at, and especially Robbie Anderson's got tough matchups the next week. Crowder could be a little bit sneaky in that spot. He looked good. I was at Jets training camp, and really the Jets all the wide receivers. I thought the Jets offense, it's not going to be a high flying offense, but their players look pretty good, man. Crowder looked good at camp. He came out nice in week 1, so I think he's a guy we should be interested in speculating on in a PPR format.
What we were saying earlier was whatever you thought of the Jets in the preseason, you have to go back to that thinking now, because now they're finally healthy. And if you thought they were a 7-win team that had, just at least a live offense, now it's time to go back to that thinking. They've been horrible. They'll probably end up a 4-win team because they started with this terrible record. But I think that from here forward, just to readjust your expectations to the preseason.
I'd agree, man.
One thing I kind of like too about just the Jets in general is the fact is we've got the bye week behind us now with the Jets, which means that as we're getting into bye week season, a guy like Jamison Crowder, especially in a PPR league, he might be a guy that you'd be pretty comfortable putting into your flex if you get hit bad by the bye weeks. So
excuse me. Go ahead, Shane. Well, I was going to say, let's not forget. I mean, I went on a huge rant about how good Robbie Anderson's schedule is down the stretch in weeks 9 through 14. Jamison Crowder gets that same exact schedule, man. So in a competitive league, in a competitive like PPR, 12-team, 14, 16-team league, that's the guy that starts getting played every week if he starts producing. And if you have him down that stretch, man, he could be very valuable as well. So.
Yeah,
well, we got 2 questions, Byron, and then we'll get you out of here. Joe Bacco in a full-point PPR. Ted Ginn Jr. or Trey Quinn this week. That's a real league that all of us should be playing in. That's a real league.
PPR, I'm going to go with Trey Quinn.
Trey Quinn. I said it about 3 weeks ago, Byron. If you stash Trey Quinn, you got a Miami matchup this week where that team, catch TMC 100%. Catch TMC, but that second option, it's got to be Trey Quinn this week.
Man, I think he's getting solid 5 receptions this week. And if it wasn't PPR, it'd be tougher because Ginn continues to show like he's got viability because of his big playability. But I just think PPR, let's split the hairs like based on rationale, and I'd expect Trey Quinn to get the targets.
And
Trey Quinn.
Any insight there? What the heck's going on with Dwayne Haskins? Is he just really not ready to play? Is that what's going on here? Wouldn't you think just throw him in there and see what you got?
No, he's a guy that I think everybody thought would need a little bit of an adjustment period. I don't hate that line of thinking. He's a good player that I believe would survive that and possibly fare pretty well. You need to see sooner than later. I'm thinking back to the NFL draft. We were there hosting that event at with SiriusXM in Nashville, and when Haskins was drafted, the first thing I looked down at the schedule, I said, okay, like he's going to be the starter coming off the week 9 bye in November or October, whatever that was. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but that's what I'm recollecting right now was like a week 9 or 10 bye for the Redskins. My gut tells me that's always been the plan for Haskins, which kind of meshes with kind of meshes with what his draft evaluation was. Like, he's good and could play, but we'd like to let him sit at least for part of a season and then let's start getting him ready for year 2.
I never understood that type of thinking because I know how I learn. I learn by doing the activity, and by sitting watching someone else do the activity, I don't learn as much. So I just never understood. First round picks in the NFL draft, QBs play right away. I never understood waiting. You want to see what you have and then see if you need to get another QB next year.
But the thing about that, Al, is like
schools of thoughts, but you can ruin a guy too. You know what I mean? And I just say without Trent Williams, and more question marks along the line. I mean, this is your future. This is Dan Snyder is the one who said we're going to draft Dwayne Haskins. So that's clearly the future of their team, and just maybe being a little bit prudent. Guys,
hopefully
we should be
future
paying attention
Cleveland
to Darius Geis. Winning teams should already have a pulse on Darius Geis' return. That's a late season stash, but all of a sudden we get a Dwayne Haskins, Darius Geis offense with Bill Callahan committed to the run. I truly think that Darius Geis is a player who could be a big injection of life to your team down the stretch when other guys are maybe starting to fade from the attrition of the season a little bit.
Tyreek Hill or AJ Brown?
Hey,
that's a stupid question.
Clipboard Jesus plays with us in our
All right,
league,
guys.
so
I got 2 more questions here.
Okay,
all right.
Ewalps, a RosterWatch Nation member. Cousins startable as a bye week fill. I think we said yes, right, Byron?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, last one. Gallup or Brandon Cooks?
You guys want to roll with Michael Gallup? We've talked about him a lot.
I like Michael Gallup this week.
Let's trot with Gallup. I like it.
All right, Byron. Isaac Y, our best friend. When do we get RosterWatch T-shirts?
That is on. Well, I don't want to promise anything, but that's been something people have been asking for a long time, and it keeps moving up the list as long as we keep knocking other things off. So I'm actually hoping we can get to maybe a little bit of merchandise this offseason. Definitely want to start getting to some RosterWatch shirts for me to wear on the road at training camps and stuff like that for these broadcasts. Alex the same, probably Trashman the same for his YouTube videos. I don't know. We may leave the trash man and his swarthy styles and all of his.
Oh, you have to.
All his fashion.
RosterWatch banana hammocks too.
Outfits.
Banana hammocks with
Yeah. I don't know about those, man. Custom embroidered. Order your own, man.
Oh my God.
But
all right, Byron.
Well, great job, guys. Y'all are
here.
doing great work over at the Flex
Thank
Network,
you.
and we love what we're doing with y'all. And thank you to all the loyal members of RosterWatch Nation. We love doing this work. We love being on the front lines for each and every one of you and your fantasy teams year round. Have a great Sunday, everybody.
All right, later, Byron. Thank you very much. And that was Byron Lambert from @RosterWatch. Get a pro membership at rosterwatch.com. Every week, guys, we do this.
I don't want to glaze over this, but I never am the one to think my own ideas are the best ideas. In fact, I think they're some of the most out there. But I really think the RosterWatch banana hammock is like a home run for the
just right there, right on the crotch. You get the RosterWatch logo or something.
The RW goes right down. Goes right down the stem.
I think we're gonna go ahead and get out of here a little bit early, guys. Let's get with the banana hammock comment. We will leave you with that. We have one @Allen says Lowski #season long says, one @Seeley_Shane. We are the Flex Network the Flex Network 1. Guys, good luck in week 6. We will be back all week. Lots of content, but especially Friday night. Guys, listen, we have a replay official from the Chicago Bears coming on our podcast Friday night. Okay, a replay official from the Chicago Bears.
Mr. Scott Aronowitz.
Tune in for the Flex Network's Friday night Flex Finder. Let's get RosterWatch to 500 reviews. Banana hammock. That's a mic dropper. Hell yes, it is,
Boom.
brother. We are the Flex Network. Have a great week 6 and go out there and dominate your leagues with the Trade Cast. See you later.
Peace out, guys.